K6USY, Delta Mike 06.
Hey, Aaron, good evening from W6BBS.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, I wonder, I'm kind of curious to find out why having that box hooked up to the rig was causing problems.
No, that wasn't it. I must have bumped another jack back there, although I wasn't in that neighborhood on the radio, but he's got so much stuff going on. Just his key line had come unplugged. So he got that fixed today. I did not go down there, and as far as I know, the other box is still unplugged because he'd unplugged that trying to get the radio going. I will be going down there in the morning, and I'll get it all back online. Over.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and I'm working from home tomorrow, so the second it's plugged in, I should be able to see if I can see it. Yeah, my first order is going to be trying to get a different IP address on it because I think the one that you sent, I think that's the default from Yaesu, and we'll have to get it onto his network subnet.
Yeah, okay. If you want a different IP, tell me what IP you want, and I'll put it in.
Yeah, I gave you an IP in the email.
Oh, okay, I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, because otherwise the computer doesn't know how to get to it.
Okay, very good, very good. I will put in the IP that you sent me.
All right, sounds good. And it's 7:30. I'm assuming Mike's around somewhere. K6USY.
Yeah, I'm here.
All righty, well, K6USY 1079.
Okay, yeah, I got you all plugged in and ready to go here. I'm turned around backwards here.
Well, it's probably good not to do that, Mike.
Well, it turns out, in the accident, his head was turned around backwards. We didn't realize it. And we straightened it out. We turned it around, and it wasn't really backwards, so now his head is looking toward his backbone. He died in the accident.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
Or the aftermath. I'm rotating down to see if we've got KB6RQU here this evening. I came in the shack and I couldn't figure out why the antenna wouldn't go past 135 degrees. Well, it wasn't. It wasn't at 135 degrees. It was at 13.5. In other words, it was 360 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 13.5 degrees. That's why it wouldn't go any further to the clockwise direction. It was on the clockwise limit. I couldn't see the decimal point, so it looked like 135 degrees, and it was at 13.5. That's an eyeball thing.
Oh yeah, you're gonna pretty soon here. You might need some antenna rotors that speak to you and tell you what the heading is.
Yeah, that's what I need. The FTDX 101 doesn't speak to me either. Not only, Frank, we had disconnected somehow the key line for the amplifier was disconnected. And it is a different line, apparently, than the line that controls the band switching in the amplifier. That's a different line. You'd think that he would put it all in one, but he didn't. Anyway, so in the process of trying to get the radio to work, this is before we found the connector that was missing. The radio was, when I turned it on, it came up in FM. Did you do anything with the radio? Because it came up in the FM mode, and I had a hell of a time getting it backed up or sideband, Frank, over.
Never touched it, Mike.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. This radio comes up in some weird modes. That's why the first minute or so when I come on, sometimes I key up and I'm on 40 meters, and it trips the amp, and I can't figure out why it's tripping the amp. And what it's doing is it's going into the split mode and going over to 14 megahertz while I've got the 7 megahertz antenna keyed. I'm trying to talk on 40 meters, so I got the 40 meter antenna hooked up, and it transmits over on 14, and then of course it trips the amp, and it breaks me. Well, I'm learning about it now, but it does it consistently inconsistent. Over.
Well, when we get the software hooked up, Frank can fix it for you remotely.
Yeah, we can look at it. I don't know why it does it, and it may be me when I turn it on, because I usually have to change frequencies, and the frequency changing arrangement on this radio is very complex, and it's got 2 or 3 rows of things that do different things, and I easily could touch the wrong row of buttons. Anyway, I'll have to sort that out when Frank gets here tomorrow. We'll see if we can figure out why in 3 of the key positions it goes to 10 megs. It goes to 10 megs 3 times in 3 different band positions, and I don't know why. But it does, and then, of course, I expect 7 megs to be 1 notch after 10, and I hit 10 again, and it still comes up 10 megs. And I hit the next one over, and I hit it again, and it comes up 10 megs. Then I go over to the 4th position over, and then finally comes up on 47 megs. It's just weird stuff, but that's what the radio is playing games with me. KB6RQU, are you around tonight, Rick? K6MYC.
WA6AAJ.
Hi, Mike. WA6AAJ, K6MYC. Go ahead.
Roger, just checking in.
Oh, give me some more chatter, please.
Bill got his medicine, and I guess is doing what he's supposed to do, and I think everything's fine. Everything okay here, that's for sure.
Are you talking about Bill? He's getting better?
Well, he got his medicine. I'm assuming he's going to be getting better.
What medicine is it? Did you find out the name?
Yeah, he got what the doctor gave him, the Paxlovid.
Oh, boy, I hope he doesn't take it.
I don't have any control over that.
Does he know shouldn't be taking that crap?
Well, I can't say one way or the other, Mike. I don't know. He's probably doing what his doctor's telling him.
Yeah, well, his doctor doesn't know. He's asking the hole in the ground, obviously. Listen, have Bill call me. I'll talk to him about it.
Okay. Well, the wife's taking it, too.
I understand, and neither one of them should be taking it. That's what Ken took it, and his wife had COVID 5 times in a row, and Ken had it 3 times.
Okay. Well, I'll call him tomorrow.
Can't you call him tonight, or is he off somewhere?
Well, I'm assuming he's probably turning in for. I didn't want to bother him at night, just because he was. Last time I called him in the middle of the day, he was sleeping, so I don't know what his hours are.
Well, it's worth bothering him.
Okay, I can give him a call later.
Please do, and apologize for me, but I'm tell him that I made you call him, and to call me. Do you have my home phone number?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, have him call me, and I can either get the ivermectin to him one way or the other very quickly. I have it here. I'll be happy to give him some ivermectin to get him through this, but Paxlovid is not the thing to take.
Okay.
It's just like taking the vaccination. It doesn't do any good.
I'll second that.
There you go. Hi, Curie.
Hello, Mike, K6MYC, KC5, DTU, 712, present and checking in. Hello, Kerry.
Hello, Mike. How are you doing today?
Doing good. I'm hearing somebody in the background, but I can't copy.
Yeah, I heard that also, but I'll second that. You need to get a hold of Bill and tell him don't take that stuff. And if Mike can't get him some, I've got some here.
Okay. Well, all I can do is try. I know we all get kind of stubborn, right?
Yeah, that's affirmative, but it's not the way to go. That stuff is bad news.
Okay, I'll give him a call in a little bit.
That's the stuff that Pfizer came out with so that they could charge you $850 for a dose instead of $10 for ivermectin, over.
All right. Well, that sounds like big pharma.
It's big pharma, and it's big crap.
I'm just thinking, I know Francis, and I'm assuming she may have a say in all this, over.
Well, if she wants to keep taking it, she's more than welcome, but at least I'm giving her good information, or giving Bill good information that's been backed up all over the place. Medically, you can look it up, but the doctors are got their head in the sand, and they make a lot of money on it because it's an $800 prescription.
Roger. Okay.
All right. KB6RQU down there in Lake Isabella. Where are you, Rick? K6MYC. I think we've lost Rick, guys. He's got some kind of home issue, and he won't talk about it, so I don't know whether he's got marriage problems or financial problems or something, but something's going on there, and I wish we could help him out, but he won't divulge. Anyway, who else do we have in here in the area? And Kerry, good to have a chat with you last night. That was wonderful, and I did have a chance to download some of that stuff to Jeff today. Jeff and I were in town, as I told you. We actually passed lunch, didn't eat lunch because neither one of us were hungry. I had a hurry-up breakfast, and I still wasn't hungry by the time we got out of the appointment at 1 o'clock, so we just came home.
Yeah, Roger. Okay. Well, I'm glad you guys had a chance. I had to skip eating to go in for that test, and got her done. So now I'm going in for the consultation. I got an appointment set up for that. So should know, trying to figure out what in the heck is going on, and hopefully soon.
You haven't had any reoccurrence, so whatever it was might have been a one shot, and it may not. Hopefully it won't show up, and well, hopefully they can find something in the testing. But don't take this stuff, or don't eat A and B on the same day or something. It's got to be something like that, over.
Yeah, Roger that, Michael. Well, yeah, you're right on that. Laura's been keeping a close eye on me, and so I've been doing good and haven't had a relapse. So knock on laminate, and just hope that it stays that way.
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, so you're not going to know anything for a few days. How long are they going to drag you out before they tell you there's nothing wrong?
Got to wait until the 22nd.
Oh, Jesus. That's the other crap about this thing. You could be dead in that time. I'm assuming if it was serious, they would call you before you died, huh?
Yeah, affirmative. But and I agree with you. You know, the hospital thought it was so important to get a hold of my cardiologist, and of course his machine broke, and then the delay on getting in there, and now they delay getting me in there to tell me that, like you said, that there's nothing wrong.
Boy, I'll tell you, the medical industry just really in deep trouble here. We got a serious problem in the medical industry. There's some good people out there, there's some good people working in some hospitals, but the hospitals and the big agencies where money is involved, they were, every time they could put you in the hospital with COVID and put you on a respirator and give you remdesivir, it was $43,000 in their pocket. Over.
Yeah, roger that. Well, not only that, Mike, you look back, I can think back when I was a kid, you had one doctor. Nowadays, on the average, you've got from 5 to 7 doctors because your main doctor can't tell you what you have to go to these other doctors that they can't tell you.
For sure. Frank, how are you doing with your back today? Did he get you put in place finally?
Yeah, I think I'm in place. I feel okay. I'm sore, but I seem to be moving okay. My feet are no longer pointed sideways, so I think I'm there. I'm planning on being down in the morning.
Yeah, it's hard to walk with one foot turned backwards, isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like that head around backwards business.
That was a joke a long time ago about a motorcycle rider. He was riding, and it was really cold, and he had a bad zipper on his jacket, and it wouldn't tighten up. So he took his jacket off. He stopped by the side of the road and took his jacket off and turned it around, put the jacket on backwards. And then he got into an accident, and finally they got to him, and they said, "Well, how's the motorcycle rider doing?" Well, he said he was alive when we found him, but his head was turned around backwards. By the time we got his head turned around the right way, he died.
I was wondering what you were talking about earlier, but I was not going to open a can of worms. Hi.
Yeah, well, that's the joke. It's not exactly a joke, but you can see how it happened. He had his jacket on backwards, and he gets all mangled in this accident, and they think his head is turned around, so they straighten his head out, and the next thing you know, he dies. Strangest things.
Yep.
Didn't bother to unzip his pants.
All right, I think you better carry on with the net now, sir.
Oh, come on. 432 is a fun net. This is the prankster net.
Yeah, well, I just don't want it to get so far that we start getting referred to as the other 40-meter group.
I hear you. Okay, well, anyway, let's see. Is there anybody else, for heaven's sakes? Where's M6BYH and a whole bunch of other checker-inners that should be here in the San Joaquin Valley? K6MYC Bozo Net. Who is that? K6 Mexico, Italy?
7-Eleven, back here, yes.
Yeah, boy, you're weak. You must be pointed down south. Are you trying to work Ralph down there?
I was trying to work Juan Fernandez Island.
Okay, good luck.
Haven't heard him yet.
This is on 6?
On 6, yeah.
Now, is the band open right now for working other people?
No, I can't be here all day.
Now, what's the SFI today, John?
I don't know. It wasn't as high as I thought it would be.
It really needs to get up into the 200s and stay there for a few days before we start getting good F2. Okay. Anyway, good evening to you, John, and good luck with Juan Fernandez or whoever he is.
Oh, thanks. Thank you so much.
KM6 SRR.
Oh. I didn't even think you were missing.
Well, I'm not missing. I just grabbed the wrong mic over.
Has anybody heard anything about Dave? Dave's been very quiet. He's missed several nets now. I wonder, he must be quite sick. No response.
I haven't heard anything, Mike. KM6 SRR.
Didn't he check in a couple of nights ago?
Well, he did. I think it was Sunday night on 2 meters he checked in, but he left right away. He wasn't even back when I kind of responded to him, and he was gone already.
Yeah, roger that.
Okay. I guess we can move on. We're not going to have a Tascadero, so we might as well just go over to Monterey. The other guy that hasn't checked in is Tom. He's missed the last 2 nights. KW6S, but let's see if he's there tonight. I'm going to Santa Cruz at 275. QRZ 432 Bozo Net. While we're rotating, is anybody copy? K6 MYC Bozo Net.
226 is here.
Oh, there's 226. Hi, Ken. How long have you been reading the mail?
I just got out here, just now.
Well, that's good. You missed all the nasty stuff.
Oh, what happened?
Oh, it was just... I was telling an old story about a motorcycle rider. I don't know. We were talking about Frank's condition, and he said, well, Frank's has had a bad back for a few days, and he said finally they got both feet pointing in the same direction. Now, he was in to see his chiropractor today, and I said, it's really hard to walk with one foot turned backwards, isn't it? And that reminded me of an old joke, which I'll tell briefly. Motorcycle rider many years ago was riding along, but his zipper on his leather jacket didn't work, and it was blowing. It was cold, so he stopped and turned his jacket around, put it on backwards, so it was closed up in the front. And he ends up getting into a horrible accident, and the ambulance guys get there and everything, and finally the cop comes over and says, how's the motorcycle rider doing? And he said, well, he wasn't alive when we first found him, but by the time we got his head turned around, the poor fellow died.
Oh, no.
Yeah, bad joke, huh?
Okay.
WB6JNP. Good evening, Dane.
Evening, Mike. Got dinner in the other room, so let's stop in for a quick
I can't copy just at the moment. I got the antenna and a null or something on you. Let me go down this way. Try it one more time, otherwise we'll have to point at you in a second. WB6JNP, go ahead.
Yeah, I said I had dinner in the other room, so anyhow, talk to you later. WB6.
I can find a peak on you, but you got to give me a little more chatter.
Okay, nothing special. Just I've got dinner in the other room, so I'm headed back there. So anyway, have a good evening. WB6.
Okay, thanks much, Dane. See you later. Thanks for checking in here. Go get dinner.
Good evening, Dane. W60IB, just to say hi.
I didn't hear him come back. Did you hear him, Ken?
Yeah, I heard him fine. He was real loud. Hi, Larry. N7WT, W60IB. You're a little early. Yeah, you dropped out a bit there. You were okay, and then you faded right out. So the conditions are changing. we're not up that way yet, I don't think, are we, Mike?
No, I'm pointed towards Santa Cruz. I don't hear Larry. I don't hear a trace. So tell him we'll be there in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, Mike will be back around your way in about 10 minutes there, Larry Orr. Okay, we'll see you in a little bit then. W60IB. And hi, Dennis. I heard you up there, too. Yeah, you probably didn't copy. Dennis is checking in now, too.
I just heard a mumble. I must have everybody in a null here at 270.
Frank up there.
Hello, Ken. If you can hear me, I'm pointed the other way. Over.
No, I hear you just fine. No problem at all. You're loud.
Okay, very good. Good evening to you, Ken. WA6OIB, W6BBS.
Yeah, you're heading west now, Mike?
Yeah, I'm trying to get KW6S. Tom's missed the last 2 evenings here. We also could have WB6 or KB6LEE, who's the one that was working and built the Quaggy for 432. But when we tried it last week, it didn't. I couldn't even find a trace of him. And they found out it wasn't working any better than his ground plane in the garage in the attic. Over.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I'm over in the west too then. I'll stand by. WA6OIB.
Well, we're really trying to get Tom first, KW6S. Tom, I hope you're okay over there. He's missed the last 3 nets, which is unusual for Tom.
Yeah, he's usually Johnny on the spot there. KW6S, WA6OIB.
We also should have, now I'm close enough, I should hear Fred in here. KD6SOK. Pointed right down your throat, Fred. KD6SOK, Cupertino, K6MYC, over.
Hi, good evening, Mike. Yeah, I hear you. You're just booming in here. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, good, and much nicer signal from you tonight. Not all chopped up and fadey. Anyway, sounds good. You're very loud, too. So good to hear you. We usually call in earlier, when I'm pointed some other direction there. But anyway, I'm sure Ken is hearing you. Ken's here. We got a pretty good gang in the San Joaquin Valley that should be hearing you. Fred, are you copying, Ken, are you copying Fred over there tonight?
Yeah, no problem at all. Hi, Fred. KD6SOK, W6OIB.
Hey, good evening, Ken. Yeah, I hear you just fine. WA6OIB, KD6SOK. Good signal here, Ken, tonight. We got great conditions on 432, so good to hear you.
Yeah, you're good and strong. No fluttery or like you usually are. You sound great. Good path tonight. Good to hear you, that's for sure. KD6SOK, WA6OIB.
7-3, Ken.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah. Anybody else copying Fred for a report? I hear KT2G. I'm not quite pointed at you, and you're very, very light tonight. Are you pointed right at me, Mark? KT2G. I moved the antenna, KT2G. Give me some longer chatter. Let me find you. Let me find your signal. KT2G, K6MYC, over.
Hello, Mark, KT2G, WA6OIB, and K6MYC, over.
Double. Somebody doubled with Mark, or somebody doubled with Ken. We're trying to get Mark, K22G. Is anybody hearing Mark?
I heard him just fine at one time, but nothing right now. K22G, WA6OIB, over. Yeah, I'm looking right at him, but nothing right now.
No, I don't know where he went. I'll log him in, but I definitely heard the call, but it was Q3.
KB6BA.
Hello there, Jim.
That's KB6BA, Oliver 900. Go ahead, Oliver.
Yeah, maybe it was me that you heard. Anyway, Ken is very strong tonight, and you got a strong signal there by KB6BA.
Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, you're your normal strength here on 432. Not great, but good. So let's see if Ken's copying you, and maybe he heard Jim in there, but I did not hear Jim. Jim might have called in underneath you. Just stand by a second, guys. Jim, WB6JNN, are you in here?
Yes, I am. WB6JNN, Willie Baker, 6
Yeah, you're good copy too here, Jim. WB6JNN, WA6OIB. And hi to Oliver there. I haven't heard you on the cactus lately, so I look for you from now and then. Anyway, good to hear both of you guys, Oliver and Jim there. KB6BA, WB6JNN, WA6OIB.
Yeah, thanks for the report, Ken. Well, I'm on cactus regularly, but mainly when I'm hiking. I'm sure we'll cross paths again. Back to you, Mike, KB6BA.
Okay, thanks, Oliver. And let me see, Jim, I peeked up on you a little bit, but I didn't get my finger on the button fast enough before you finished. You were booming in last night on 2 meters, so it's not at all like that tonight. But I know your 2 meter system, at least last night, was certainly strong and very steady. WB6JNN 285, K6MYC, go ahead.
K6MYC, WB6JNN. Well, you're up and down, but you're around the net 6 to 7 and down to a 5 to 7. 5, you shouldn't be hearing me given our power difference, but at 7, probably 6 to 8 dB noise, with the noise at least. All right, anyway, that's it from here, WB6JNN.
The path has shifted here. I'm getting you above 290. Normally you're at 285, 286, and you're up about 5 or 6 degrees above that, where you have a very broad peak, not a normal peak. So the signals, at least from me to you, are diffused. Confused and diffused, over.
Yeah, a lot of distortion on the signal and flutter. So, yeah, it's probably going around some peak somewhere and phase difference between the two sides, WB6JNN.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, thanks for being there. Thanks for checking in. And we'll see you Sunday. Have a good, relaxing weekend. No Super Bowls. I don't think there's anything too much going on the weekend this time. Maybe you'll get some sunny weather, and you can fly your plane.
Yeah, it was nice today, but other things prevented me from taking time to go fly, so I didn't get anything done today. And it could probably rain through the weekend. Thank you. Oh, by the way, I'm off 1296 for the moment. I have to do some recabling around here. I've moved things, and I have to recable to get things up and running on 1296 again, so I may or may not be on next week. WB6JNN.
Okay, well, thanks for the heads up. I hope I remember why you're not here next week then. Thanks, Jim. WB6JNN, K6MYC, QRZ, the Bay Area, PQL should be here somewhere in AXX.
Yeah, PQL is here, but I think you probably just need to bump the antenna just a little bit. They tend to be a little bit sharper on this band. Yeah, depending on how well you walk. Talking about that is kind of interesting. So we'll see how it goes. And I also heard KB6WC on frequency as well. K6MYC, W6PQL.
That's the problem. Either something has changed my calibration or something here, but now I got you very strong, but I'm up at 297. Up 10 off of where you normally would be.
Okay, well, you're good copy here. You're about pretty close to S9. There's a lot of flutter and so forth on the frequency, but that's okay. So a couple of things. The first one is I just did a write-up on the 900 megahertz amplifier. That's on my website for those that are interested in that band. I imagine there's not very many, but there's some guys on EME that are contest and certificate hunters that would like to do that on every band they can. The other thing is, if you remember the 150 watt amplifier that they used to build, Amplion just came out with a transistor that's good for 100 watts on that band. And I got some samples here I'm going to play with. A couple of those would replace the ones I can no longer get, of course. And they're pretty reasonably priced. In fact, they cost less than the old transistors I was using. So that amplifier may be resurrected. So one could have 150 watts to 200 watt amplifier, at a decent price point. compared to the 600-watt version. So that's going to be possible. I just need time to work on it. So I've got that in the works too. So there you go. K6MYC, W6PQL again.
Okay, boy, that's good news there on the 150 to 200 water, the Amplion, maybe even just 100 water. I mean, you're taking it from 10 watts from the 9700 to 100. That's 10 dB. That's way better than we used to get out of the old Mirage and other amplifiers, you know, on 2 meters. They didn't have, you were lucky if you got 8 or 9 dB of gain out of those things, those bipolars. But anyway, no, that's good. I don't know if it would make it that much cheaper just to make the single device. What does a device cost a piece, roughly? You got an idea?
Oh, somewhere around $20. So a pair of them would be comparable to what I was paying for the surplus transistors that I was buying that were made way back in 2000. So that could bring this into a real possibility. Let's see, the gain on these parts is pretty good. They're talking about in CW 16 dB. So, you know, and let's see, gain 825 to 352. Now I'm looking at the data sheet, and it's hard to tell, but I think 10 watts to 200 watts is easily achievable with a pair of these things. So it looks pretty good.
Yeah, maybe one of those that you want to package in a bulletproof case and put it up at the antenna.
Oh, that's what Steve used to do, W6QIW. In fact, he's probably still doing that. I think he has his 150-watt amplifier up there at the mast, and that's what he does.
Yeah, it's a little awkward if you can't get to the thing and getting DC voltage, but the DC voltage for 150 watts isn't bad. These things these are MOSFETs. They run on 50 volts or 28 or 12.
You can get them in a couple of different voltages. 36 is one voltage. The ones that I've got here are 50 volts, so the current is lower. Of course, the higher you go in voltage, the less the current is. So if you wanted to run that up the mast, that wouldn't be a big deal.
Yeah, you could even run it up the feed line, because you got to run pretty good-sized feed line on 1296 anyway. So the only problem that makes you build is a couple of bias tees, but for 150 watts and probably 8 amps of current, or 4 to 8 amps isn't bad.
Yeah, just on the top of my head, you'd probably have to have something like 300 to 350 watts of DC current available at 50 volts, and whatever that works out to, 7 amps, something like that.
I'm sorry, what was the last question about? Is there something like that?
Yeah, well, just on the top of my head, you'd probably have to send 7 amps up the coax to power a 200-watt amplifier up there on the mast.
Well, even that isn't bad. 7 amps at 50 volts isn't much current. That's not going to stress the coax at all if it's at least LMR 400 or equivalent, so that's not bad. Okay, well, it's got possibilities. I don't know how hard it would be to package it, you know, with a little weatherproofing, essentially, and probably no fans, just more heat sink. It might be better to have no fans, just heat sink, huh?
Oh, I don't know how that would work. I think somebody that's going to mount it at the mast would probably be something like what you've got and what I've got, 600 watts or so. But, you know, for the guy that's just looking for a desktop amplifier, an inexpensive, relatively inexpensive desktop amplifier, like the Gemini, that would probably fit the bill.
Yeah, well, it's a different, there's two different trains of thought there. Okay, well, anyway, it's good news. Hopefully you can develop the board and then decide what the packaging is. But I like your idea. The cheapest you can make it, a simple, bulletproof, nothing fancy, and as low cost as possible to get these guys to spring for it. I think that's a good idea. All right, thanks, Jim, and that's great news. W6PQL, K6MYC. Did you work, Steve? You did. You don't work him tonight, do you?
No, not on 432, but I did work KB6WFC. He's on frequency.
Okay. KB6 Whiskey Foxtrot Charlie, are you here, Mike?
Oh, he was here. Mike, are you there? Okay, he's hearing your live stream, Mike, but not on the radio right now. You might have to bump the antenna a little bit north.
No, I bumped it. I can't pull him out. I can hear him, but it's not readable.
Okay, well, he's present accounted for.
Yeah, I got him. He's checked in. Thank you, Mike.
Roger, Roger. You're in, Mike?
What did he say?
He said thanks. He's filled with peace.
Okay, did he say he was hearing me?
No, he's got the same problem you have.
Oh, yeah, but I got way more power than he's got. I'm running your amp.
Not enough. Tonight you'd probably need 10 kW.
I guess I do. Is that any better, Mike?
No, he's not hearing you, Mikey.
Okay, he must have either noise or no ears. There we go.
Okay. By the way, what was that drug that you were talking about? Was it ivermectin or was it something else?
No, ivermectin is the good one. Paxlovid is the one that's made by Pfizer, and they charge you $800 a dose for it. It's a ripoff, and it doesn't work well.
Well, the medical community is reluctant to prescribe either one of those right now. They're both antivirals, but the thing is, what they've discovered is that very often the COVID comes back. It relieves the symptoms and provides some recovery initially, but within a week or two, a lot of the patients have been getting a recurrence of COVID.
Amen.
Been on that drug, so if you're healthy enough to to get through the infection and recover like you would do with the normal flu, it's best to avoid both of those things.
You don't have that. You don't have the return with ivermectin. It's the Paxlovid that has the return. You're talking to Ken. Ken, tell him you had it 3 times with Paxlovid, didn't you?
That's right. Yeah, they made me take the Paxlovid, and they wouldn't let us off the ship until we did it. $800, and then I had it. I got it 2 more times after that, right within a few weeks. So that was it was not a good experience.
Well, I would think Radio Dave would want to join in on this.
Who wants to join in, Dr. Dan? Who wants to join in on this? Go ahead. You're very, very light. Jim, are you hearing that station?
No, he's not over here, Mike.
I don't know where he is. Give us your call, please. Ken, did you hear him?
Negative, I didn't.
Okay, give us your call a few more times. We don't know where to point for you. We need to point. We all have very, very directive antennas. We can copy you if you tell us where you are. Over, please. K6MYC in the Bozo Net. Over. Have some information on Paxlovid or anything else related to COVID, please come on in. We're more than welcome to have you, but you need to respond, please. Go ahead. I'm not hearing anybody now.
I never did.
Yeah, I did. He has a J in the call, a DJ or a Dr. LJ or something like that. I think he said, I think you ought to listen, have Dr. LJ chime in on this conversation or something like that. I heard him. He was almost Q5, but I didn't get a call sign or anything. Come on in again. Try it one more time. K6MYC in the group standing by. Go ahead. We get these GMOs on 40 meters also.
Yeah, just continue on. There's no use in belaboring this.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to get an idea of what he had to say. I don't know where Jim got the idea that ivermectin gives you long COVID. It does not. Jim, are you here?
Yeah, I'm just relating what I got from the medical professionals that I know here.
No, they're wrong.
Well, I don't think so, Mike.
Yes, they are.
Whatever.
Yeah. Well, medical professionals, it wouldn't even, well, I'm glad at least they got their brains around the Paxlovid. They're wrong about the ivermectin. That's been used all over the world for years. It's a 45-year-old invention, and it does not give you Paxlovid. It does not deteriorate your immune system, and it doesn't have any effect to make it anything worse than just getting you through it in a shorter period of time.
I'm unconvinced, but we both had our say.
Okay. All right, let's see. Is there anybody else in the Bay Area for K6MYC and the Bozo Net? Over. Okay, let's go up and see if Russ is there. Russ, K6ERF, K6 Echo Romeo Fox, are you here?
Yeah, Roger, Mike. Good evening to you and Annette. I've been listening, of course, on the YouTube here. I'm listening to words from everybody. So it really is great. It's like having my own new IC9700 receiver sitting on the side here.
You have a new one, do you?
No, I don't have it, but I have it on the monitor.
Oh, yeah, you've got mine. You're looking at mine there. Okay, very good. Well, thanks for checking in here. You got a good signal, but I had it's really funny because the guys from the Bay Area are coming in the same direction. Well, no, I've got you at 309. That's where you're peaking. Normally you're 294. So it's off by almost 10, 15 degrees. The path has shifted. Either that or the antenna's off, and I'll calibrate it again tomorrow. But everybody has shifted to the north a little bit here. Anyway, good to hear you. And I assume you're reading the mail there. K6ERF. And I don't know whether Gary's in here or not tonight with his Oscar setup, K6MYC.
I don't think so. Normally, we check in about this time, especially if you hear my signal is strong over there. Anyway, it's been an interesting night. And by the way, you do have a slim sliver of tropo just over your area, so you have a little bit of improvement tonight over the last couple of weeks, which we had nothing.
Yeah, well, I'm not seeing any evidence of it here. The only station that was the strongest of any time I've ever heard him is Fred, KD6 SOK in Cupertino, but everybody else was fluttery and watery and thin in the rest of the Bay Area there. And you're in there and you're pretty steady, but you've got every now and then a pretty big dropout for a few seconds. It's weird.
Yeah, Roger on that. Well, the tropo I'm talking about, the very slim, very minute amount, so it probably does amount to a hill of beans. Anyway, we'll say good evening to you. We've got a lot of work going on around here. My son's been removing all the furniture out of the 2 rooms because we got a new family moving in with us, so that's the subject for another time. K6, MIC, K6, we'll see you later.
Okay, are you... This is a joke, and you don't have to answer it. Are you bringing in some migrants?
Yeah, my son and his wife, if you call them migrants.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. Well, hopefully that works out for everybody. I know how the hard times right now. Boy, it's hard to find housing, and it's so expensive. I'm sure that's the reason for it.
Yeah, they just can't afford their bills and paying the home rent each month. And they live pretty close here, not too far away. But anyway, they're clearing out these rooms so they can make room for their own stuff. It's quite a change taking place. My wife is taking kind of hard, but that's the way it goes. Anyway, talk to you next time. We'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, well, hopefully it goes smoothly, and your wife will get used to it there. It's just what we have to live through, I guess, in certain situations with the cost of living right now. It's just brutal. All right, thanks, Russ. Good evening to you. Ken, did you want to say anything to Russ?
Well, just good evening. Hi, Russ. Good to hear you. WA6OIB here.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, you always have good signal here, and I just say good evening to you, and best to everyone who can hear me. I've been on this net for a long time. What is it, about almost 10 years now, is that right?
Yeah, could be. And we had a station that checked in earlier, then didn't show up again, and I didn't think about it, but maybe he was vertically polarized. I could have switched here. I keep forgetting I have vertical polarity capability, and I should have switched over and called him there, and that might have brought him up out of the noise. That may be why nobody else heard him. Okay, anyway, Ross, 7-3 for now. We'll see you Sunday. Have a good weekend. And hopefully everything gets moved in and settle down there. K6ERF, K6MYC up toward Oakley.
I'm here.
Go ahead, Oakley.
K6MYC and 6RO 835. Nothing drastic to report. Had a little physical problem today. Didn't get things done that I wanted, but that's life at this age. Anyway, we'll see you on the weekend, or Sunday, and 6RO.
Okay, I had quite a discussion with Robert. No, I've forgotten the name of the plastic. We did look up the insulator. I think it's $44 from DX Engineering, but it's made out of something that I don't recognize. Oh, it's a modest plastic, but it's not Lexan. So I'm not sure I would jump through hoops to get that one. We have another two different sizes of stuff that will fit yours for 20 meters. There's a 20-meter clamp that's slightly smaller. It's used on the KT-34. It's double-sided and everything. It's just physically smaller and a little bit cheaper. You might talk to Robert about that when you do get a chance. It's a little bit expensive, but not much more than what the DX Engineering ones are, and these will never break. Over.
Roger. After last night's discussion, I'm thinking we'll just go with the existing Lexans, since they filled up this time and have a almost infinite life. One of the elements is sort of got some bend in it, but I think we can straighten that out. If something fails after we put it up on the new boom, next replacement will be a whole antenna.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, you got your money's worth out of those at 45 years old. You probably only paid $20 for piece for them, didn't you, when they were new?
A little bit more than that.
I know, but Jesus, the price stuff is just terrible right now. Aluminum price, just the raw cost of aluminum doubled here for the price change that we did about 6 or 8 months ago, and then everything else went up. And so our prices are just crazy. Robert was just lamenting the fact that that even the simple stuff is expensive. Material cost and all is just brutal. Anyway, that's what we found out about those. But we do have a lighter one. It's 4 inches and 3/8 of an inch thick plates on either side, and it's saddled, double saddles. It's just physically a little smaller than the big rugged ones we use for 40 meters and bigger 20-meter antennas. But these little ones are made to take a 1-inch element, with what you have. So it's perfect from that standpoint. But I agree with you. Just stay with the Lexan. If you break one, you can worry about it. If you break more than one out of 15, then it's probably time to replace them. Over.
Yeah, I agree with that. I haven't run it by my chief engineer yet, but I'll convince him. Okay, thanks for your assistance on this, and 6RO.
Yeah, okay. And by the way, you might think about a trip come down and visit me, and at the same time you can pick up your boom and save $400.
Oh, that much for shipping?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Well, we'll think about that.
Yeah, it's an easy thing. I mean, you could even put on a normal car rack if it has a top roof rack. It's not a big deal. And so it could go on the top rack if you don't even have a truck or anything, but I'm sure you do. Anyway, think about it. That's the brutal size of it. It's almost as expensive as the boom itself. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, shipping is outrageous for some other stuff I just bought. So I understand.
Yeah, that's UPS's price for 95 inches. They call it. Well, that's oversized to them. They don't take anything bigger than a 95-inch long box, and that's a premium cost factor, unfortunately. And you really wouldn't want to have 8 pieces of boom. It's better to have 4 or so. Over.
Yeah, all right.
Or 5, actually. You need 5 8-footers is what you need.
Right.
Anyway. Okay. Anyway, it sounds like I had quite a chat with Robert about it today, and I said, do your homework on this, because he hadn't called DX Engineering. We're very unhappy with them right now. They not only copied our rotator, but now they're telling everybody else that we're discontinuing the rotator, and Robert is really pissed off.
Yeah, well, arrogance in the East.
Something. Anyway, I don't know. I haven't heard anybody running their rotators, and they had a horrible time getting them out. I don't know whether they're panning out like they should be or not. They had some initial troubles in the beginning, and it was supposed to be out on the market a long time ago, but they kept delaying and delaying. Anyway, I don't know more about than that, but we're very unhappy with DX Engineering overall. They've dinked around with us a lot. And in any number of different ways. I won't go into it. But if they serve you and they can give you what you need, then I don't have any problem with it. But Robert doesn't recommend them to anybody anymore.
Yeah, understand. Well, I got all the stuff from them to re-guy all 4 of my big towers, and they treated me okay on that. But I hear you. Rotator-wise, we replaced one of the big racks that was turning the 80-meter dipole and the LFA at the top of the big tower, and that's working fine now. But I bought it from Europe, which was $500 cheaper than buying it from Canada.
I'll be darned.
Anyway, I gotta run. I've got a Zoom meeting as usual in 2 minutes. I'll see you on Sunday.
See you Sunday. Good night. Good evening, Ken. I got a half-inch of rain in the last storm, by the way. I'm up to full 8 inches on a good day. 7-3.
That's neat. We had a predicted 4/10 yesterday, but it only gave us 0.08.
I got yours and mine too, huh?
Yeah. But looks like the weekend or the next 5 days are going to be full of it.
Let's hope for a lot of rain. I need it for sure. My ponds are actually smaller after last night than they were a week ago. So we're losing ground here. 7-3. W6SSW, Steve. I wonder if you're there this evening. K6MYC.
Yeah, I'm here. W6SSW. Yeah, had a nice evening with my wife last night for Valentine's Day. Had a nice dinner and stuff. So sorry I missed the net, but the priorities.
Well, yeah. I forgot about that. I mean, I knew that it was Valentine's Day, but it didn't dawn on me. I don't have those obligations anymore. But you're right. You did the right thing. But we did miss you. You're conspicuous by your absence, over.
Okay, well, thank you for that. I guess I try. You work hard to keep the band activity up, and the least we can do is return the favor.
You do fine. You're way ahead of most guys, so I wouldn't worry about it. And if keeping a wife happy is has got anything to do with it, you better go with that.
Yeah, roger that.
All right. Anyway, not too much new other than what we can't talk about too much here on the air. Over.
Hello there, Steve.
Hey there. Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, hello, Ken.
Yeah, how you doing? You got 10 over signal here. Beautiful, as usual.
Yeah, we usually have a good 432 pass. That's nice. Yeah, Mike, I'm glad that you got some rain the other day. Boy, we just got a trace here, just barely enough to dampen the rain gauge. It was weird.
We got 2 tenths here last night, all night long.
Yeah, it was funny because I woke up and I didn't think we'd gotten any rain at all. It was kind of dry on the patio, and at 9 o'clock when I quit the net last night, it was just drizzling, not enough to even make the concrete shiny on my deck out in front of the barn. I mean, it was just the concrete was soaking it up as fast as it was coming down, so it was nothing. And I figured, oh, great. But as we were driving into town today, I saw the massive puddles all over the place. I thought, oh, boy, these guys must have got a lot more rain than I did. And when I got home, I saw a whole half inch. That's more rain than I've had in one night since we started this crap. Since September. I'm up to a full 8 inches now since May, so I guess that's not too bad. About 1 inch per month, I guess. All right, Steve, back to you, and then we'll slide on up and get this thing going here.
That's good, 8 inches. That's double of what you were stuck at for a while, so that's good news.
Yeah.
You tied me, Mike.
Yeah, you only got a half inch last night?
Yeah, mine was a half inch overnight, and exactly a half inch. So, for once, you kept up with me at least.
Well, you remember we looked at it yesterday, and it was just a hair under 7.5, and it's now just a hair under 8, about the same amount that it was under 7.5. So I'm guessing half inch is close enough for who it's for. Over.
Yep, roger that. Well, that brings my total to 13, so we will continue and see where we get from here. Hopefully this next series brings us another good round.
Yeah, well, I went down and looked at the pond, and I kneeled on the ground up by the waterfall because I was pulling some weeds that had fallen down and died there. And I just kneeled down with one knee, and it was wet instantly. I was about 6 inches up at the bank from where the waterfall is, and so the bank was damp. It didn't show any wet, glistening water or anything, but it was immediately very damp. So I think this next batch of rain now will start to get some runoff. Anyway, let's see how we're doing up there in Sacramento.
Good evening, Steve. W6SSW, Kilo Mike 6, Sierra Romeo Romeo, over. Hey, KM6SRR, good evening, Rob. Yeah, you sound good up here. Thank you. I'm finally hearing some people here. This is my lousy setup, rotor and antenna and everything. Anyway, good to hear you on there. I just want to give you a shout out. Over. Yeah, thanks for the shout. W6SSW, 73, Rob. 73, Steve. Hey, Mike, we got 0.4 inches of rain last night. Here, over.
0.4, yeah, you were close to me. I think I got probably closer to 0.6 actually in actuality, but somewhere between 0.5 and 0.6. Anyway, it did make it to almost 8 inches now.
Roger. I've got probably about 9.5 since the end of the summer. Over.
Yeah, there you go. All right, I'm pointed up toward KJ6KFB and KO6KD. Either one of you guys around? See, they beg us to put streaming online, and then they don't use it. KJ6KFB or KO6KD, K6MYC. Where are you, Bill?
I think Bill's probably on 40 meters, over.
What would he be doing over there?
Well, he probably left it on there from this morning, over.
He wasn't on there this morning either. I was there. Couldn't make the amplifier key, but nobody was there, so it didn't matter. But I called K7VO and KO6KD, and I didn't hear Frank either. But I didn't hear anybody on 137. 7.137, so it didn't matter that I couldn't key the amp this morning. A connector had fallen off the back of the radio. The key line to the amplifier had fallen off. Frank was wiggling things back there the other day, and he didn't do anything with that connector, but that connector's fallen off a couple of times with the cats walking back there, so it's not a very solid connector. Anyway, I luckily found it and plugged it back in, and then everything started to work again this evening when I got home. KO6KD, where are you, Bill?
Yep, right here. Just had to get to the radio. I think I got everything spun around. John's been calling. We're just kind of all out of shape here, and Darren may even try to get in. So, good evening, KR6MR, or K6MYC, sorry. KO6KD776, and I'll stand by for the other guys.
Okay, I did not hear you this morning.
No, you said you were not going to be there, and I just said, I'm going to sleep in.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you did. Because I couldn't have got it on anyway. I could make 40 watts, and that was it.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. What's a big problem?
I just couldn't key the amp. We had been working on it to install this streaming thing on the FT-DX101, and Frank had accidentally dislodged the keying line to the amp.
Well, you could have run the exciter power up to 100 watts, but I don't know. That doesn't make 3 dB difference. So you were there today. I understood you to say you would not be. So I'm going to roll over and go back to sleep.
Well, I was only going to be there for 10 minutes, but 10 or 15 minutes. But as it turned out, I couldn't even get on for that, and I didn't hear Bob either. So I don't know whether he knew that, but he wasn't there either. Maybe everyone will be there in the morning.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how busy it is. It's been horribly busy with the Hispanic guys down there, in the 130s, and then the DX guys. They're taking everything from 143 to 150, and they just figure it's theirs.
Yeah, well, I can help get the frequency a little wider, but that's why we didn't go down to 137. It's been clear for a couple of weeks now, but it's usually full of Spanish-speaking stations. That's why I've stayed out of there. And some of those guys got brutal signals for me. They're 20, 30 over 9, so I didn't want to get down there. And they also aren't very clean. Okay, let me see. Did you say Darren was here?
Yes, he should be here.
KJ6KFB, Darren. Yeah, I was beyond you there. Because I called you, but I didn't hear any answer. KJ6KFB, good evening. We missed you all yesterday. Nobody was on yesterday.
No, it must have been a rough night. I had to go pick up meds, which I got to go do again tonight. So I'll make it brief. In and out. Thanks. Good to hear you, Mike.
Who do you have to pick up? Your wife?
No, got to go hit the pharmacy.
Oh, meds. Okay. Somebody sick?
Always. I got the 90-plus-year-old in my home.
I'm sorry, a static crash got you. Say what?
I say I have a 90-plus-year-old in my home that I have to take care of. What can I say?
Oh, Roger. Okay, well that makes sense. That's understandable. Okay, is that your side or your wife's side?
Oh, the wife's side. So, anyway, got to run for now. Have a good one, Mike. We'll hopefully catch you on Sunday night. KJ6KFB.
Roger, Darren. Thank you for being there, and appreciate it. Okay, let me go back up to you, Bill, and I'll go beyond you a little bit and see if I can hear John in here. KR6MR. This should be close, John. KR6MR, K6MYC. I don't hear John at all now, Bill.
He's
very, very weak. Very, very weak.
He's tapping you very, very weak, Mike.
KR6MR, Bozo
over.
Yeah, I got you, John. KR6MR, K6MYC. I think my calibration has shifted. Everybody's off by about 10 degrees here, and I went that far, but I had to go another 2, and here you are. KR6MR, K6MYC. We got you now, over.
Okay, very good, Mike. I'm going to let you go. Base pause is starting me up again with a plus 40 to plus 60 spike, which makes it very, very difficult. Anyway, catch you later, and let me see, Thursday, Sunday night on 2 meters. Catch you then, over.
Yeah, Roger. I'm hearing the spikes. Also, I called it a static crash on Darien, but it wasn't. It was one of the Beale Air Force Base spikes. Yeah, they're pretty strong tonight, over.
Roger, very, very strong. So I'll let you go, and, well, looks like we're doubling. Okay, I'll let you go, and we'll look for you Sunday night, KR6MR, back to net.
No, yeah, we're not doubling. You might have think it was doubling if you're listening to the stream, but no, we weren't doubling. Okay, 7-3, and we'll see you Sunday night. KR6MR, K6MYC. How about KW6T and WA6LOL or anybody else? Okay, I'm going to need some help with that one. Give us your call several times, over.
That was Larry saying he's got to hurry up before he goes to bed, N7WT.
Well, it's only 8:45. Okay, Larry.
But you did tell him 10 minutes about a half hour ago.
Well, I know, but that's my 10 minutes.
Well, he gets sleepy.
That's why we give him streaming. Larry, make some noise. I'm out of calibration, so I can peek on you. Go ahead, Larry. Ken?
Negative. N7WT, WA6OIB here. I heard him fine earlier, but not now.
Yeah, I heard him come back, and then he just, I was trying to sweep back and forth across him. I went up to 14 degrees, which would have been normally the 10-degree offset that I'm seeing here, and he went away. And I came back, and he wasn't there, so I don't know whether he went away because of steering, pointing, or band. Let's see, Richard should be here with his smashing 10 watts. Let's see if we can pull Richard out. KD6BQ, you might try CW first, Richard. You might try CW first so we can tune in on you, and then maybe we can get you on phone, Richard. KD6BQ, Wassa Valley, K6MYC. No, Richard isn't there either. I wonder if they had a massive power outage. Let's just do this a second, Ken and Rob. Let's just chat here for a second. Maybe it'll come back when all three of them go away. Well, Daniel, I think, is broken. He's either covered with snow or something's wrong with the 432. So he's on 222 and 1296 only, but I thought he might be fixed. He's liable to come back here at any time. We've already got Larry checked in, so I'm just hoping we can hear something from Richard tonight. If we can get Larry to tell us whether Richard is there or not, that would be helpful.
Yeah, Richard is not there. N7WT.
Okay, I think what you said is Richard is not there. Could you just repeat it and say, no Richard, no Richard, no Richard?
That's what he said. Richard's not there, but Dale is. Over.
Okay, but they're not on there long enough for me to peek on them. Are you hearing anything?
No, I'm not hearing anything at all. N7WT, N7WT, WA60IB, over. No, it's just quiet.
Yeah, I'm not hearing now either, KM6SR.
I wonder if Larry's got a problem there. He just makes that short 5-second transmission and then just stops like he's being cut off or something kicking out.
Instantly dies. You're in your room strong and then you're gone in the next second. And 7WT.
There you are. Turn it over to Dale. I don't hear Dale. Turn it to Dale. Turn it to Dale. Over.
Dale, what's the bed? He just gave up. Just a couple of minutes told me I can't hear him. I'm going to bed. So he left. I'm all by myself. As Richard did to the captain.
Okay, 7-3. He's going to bed, he said. Did you hear that, Ken?
Yeah, I heard part of that, yep. Okay, if you copy, good night. Good night up there, Larry. WA60IB.
Rob, Dale was in here, so but I need his number. I think it's 1112, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's correct. 1112 KJ6IX. Over.
Okay, got it. I think we're done. We didn't hear anything from KB6RQU, but we gave them a long time down there. So I think we're done, and it's not even 9 o'clock yet. What are they complaining about anyway? These night owls.
Yeah, maybe they're just sleepy.
Holy crap. Okay. All right. Well, Ken, thanks for being there the whole time tonight. Ken, we got you in here for half a night last night, and then you got over on the 10-meter thing, and sometimes you can't get loose from that, or you don't want to be loose from that net. Over.
No, I was loose from that. I got on here and said I was back, but I didn't hear anything. You know, there was nothing for me to do after that. I just listened.
Oh, I didn't hear you say you were back. I'm sorry. You might try to get an acknowledgement from me. I normally would identify. I'd say, I got you or something. I did not hear you.
I thought I did get an attaboy out of that or something. But anyway, but I did. I wasn't there to the very end. I was there to almost to the end. You were carrying on another conversation, and I had to get inside, so I just took off.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay, very good. Well, thanks for the help tonight, and I don't know. I'm sorry we lost that one guy. That I should have remembered to try to go to vertical when those guys check in like that. But it also is frustrating when they won't come back. They were obviously hearing the conversation. They were hearing not only mine but somebody else's, I would think. And I think it was a comment. And somebody wanted to make a comment related to the COVID-19 stuff, but they never came back. That's always frustrating. I hate it when people do that. They check in and then they don't finish. We get that a lot on 40 meters, and it's very frustrating.
Yeah, well, for one reason or another, they probably just don't want to get involved. Maybe that's what it was.
Well, then they shouldn't call in the first place.
Well, they may be just, the type that like to stir things up.
Oh, well, that may be if they're just doing it to antagonize or to make us think about maybe more than one answer to that question. I I'm open, but I've got personal experience, and so do hundreds of my friends. And tens of millions of people in India have good experience with ivermectin, and long COVID has never shown up in any of the reports. And there's been hundreds and hundreds of studies done on ivermectin. It's clean as a whistle.
Yeah. Well, I've got some here, but I use it for the horses.
Well, yeah, it's good for horses and humans. It was invented as a human medicine. Actually, got the Nobel Prize for being its use on humans.
Yeah, well, it does good with my horsies too. But I don't know. What are you going to do if they don't want to talk? They change their mind or whatever. Or like I was saying, they just may want to antagonize you there. All right. Well, I guess we're done then, huh?
I guess we are. Good night, all. Thanks, Rob. And I think Aaron's in there, but he's been very quiet tonight. You're holding your tongue, are you, Aaron?
Oh, just dealing with the kids, but they're all in bed now.
Okay.
Busy times, huh? Great. Well, you're doing good, Father.
Yep. Try to work radio in when I can.
What do you need up here? Oh, I guess there's two reasons you can't get on from where you are and do what you got to do with this FTDX 101. One fact is I've got the power cord disconnected to it, or one of the cords anyway. And the other one is Frank has to change the what is it, the password or something?
No, he needs to change the IP address on it. And as I said, worst case scenario, if we don't get it going remotely, I'll just come up on Monday.
Hey, Ken, I have a question for you before you go. KM6SRR.
Well, okay.
Go ahead, Rob.
Okay, thanks. I was going to let you guys finish what you're doing there. Ken, did you get rid of all those capacitors you were thinking about tossing out? Over?
And you can hear the sound of me slapping my forehead. I don't know what you speak of.
You're saying that you're cleaning out your garage and you had a whole bunch of capacitors you were going to junk. Over?
Well, old age or whatever, I have no idea what that would be all about. I wouldn't throw away capacitors. I use them all the time. Unless only way I'd throw them away is if they were no good.
He's having a Biden moment, Rob.
Okay, well, yeah, I remember telling you, I said, well, don't do that. And he says, well, I got to make room. So anyway, I was just talking to Dave, LOL, the other night, and he'd love to have them if you're going to throw them out. That's all I was going to pass on. KM6SR.
What kind of capacitors, Rob, did you think they were?
That's what I was going to ask. What kind of capacitors?
You didn't get specific. You just said capacitors. Over.
Well, what does Dave need capacitors for?
Well, I told Dave that I thought Ken was going to throw out a bunch and if he was interested in them. And he said, oh, yeah, I can always use stuff. Over.
He had to come to my barn.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I don't know. This must have been some time ago. I can't remember what that conversation was about and what I was talking about. Because I just don't throw capacitors away because I use them. I've got a repair shop here. I got to keep some sort of stock up. But unless they were old electrolytics or something like that are dried out, something like that, then they need to be tossed out.
Okay, well, no big deal. I just thought I remember you saying something, and I was saying, well, don't throw them out. Somebody'd want them, and you said you got to make room from the garage there. So, anyways, it was a month or so or more ago, probably. Anyway, KM6SR, we standing by.
He's slept since then.
Barely, yeah.
Or vacuumed up. He got a vacuum cleaner that sucks those big electrolytics right in. Without even burping.
Anyway, on a different subject, Pat sent me up some more numbers of some bozos to send out our letter to. Do you have some more here, Mike, I should send out too? Over.
You want me to make up some numbers?
No, I did. Do you think I should find some for guys up north and send out some more?
Yeah, but I don't know where I'd even start on numbers. I mean, I know who I can list the people who check in. The ones that don't check in, we'd have to go over the list that do check in and then look at the rest of them. But like you said, you have to go through each one of them and find out if we've even got a usable email address for them.
Yeah, I can do that, and then I can look at the people. I'm kind of familiar with who's checking in. I'm almost starting to memorize a lot of numbers now, too. Anyway, I just wondered if you wanted me to send out another batch there, and I'll have to get with Aaron sometime to figure out when's a good time for him for me to try to get back on again. Over.
Aaron, get back on what?
On the Bozo YouTube channel to use that as my return or sending email. Over.
Okay, I didn't know you were using that. Okay, here's what I would do. If you can do it, sort by a zip code and look at some of the zip codes in the Bay Area. There's a lot of people in the Bay Area that aren't checking in. We got the regulars, and they're all the same guys, and that's nice, but there's so many people in the Bay Area that have the capability and don't take advantage of it and probably aren't even aware of the fact of the streaming and all the new stuff that we're doing. So that's the volume area. I would look at, if you can sort by zip code or something, that might be a way to attack that list. Over.
Probably the quickest way for me is just to look at them and recognize the towns that are over in the Bay Area, and that's kind of what I did before. I don't know if I mentioned, remember that guy you're trying to get a hold of in Utah? He was one of the guys I sent the letter to for the Southern California guys. Over.
I heard you say that. AB6, the other one is Alpha Delta 6, AG6A. Now he's moved up. He's not going to get on, but that would be one that he was in the Bay Area. Now he's up in Oregon somewhere. He's the one that had all the amplifiers for sale. Did he ever call anybody back?
I don't know anything. I'll make sure I don't send one to him. Over.
Well, did I give you his phone number? Because he's got the 600-watt 1296 amp for sale and other stuff. Over.
Okay. Yeah, I remember vaguely talking about it, but I don't know if I got a phone number or something for him. Over. I'll have to look through my log. Over.
Okay, I'll give it to you. I can remember the phone number. Get this. How's this for a good memory? 408-209-7373.
That's a good phone number.
I can remember that because it's got area codes that I'm all familiar with, and of course, who could forget 7373?
Okay, great. And what was his name?
His name is Dave, AD6A, Alpha Delta 6 Alpha, I'm pretty sure, but you could look it up, and he's now living, and it's okay. His address is correct now in QRZ, so confirm his name is Dave and confirm it's some little town up in Oregon.
Okay, I'll do. Thanks.
Yeah, I would send him one. You'd send him one. He won't be able to check in from up there, and he's getting rid of everything. I wouldn't send him anything, but he's the one to call about the amplifier. I think Frank called him, but he never returned the call. Frank, are you still here? Frank's pain pill kicked in, and he's gone to bed. Okay. Anyway, he had 2 meters and 432. I don't know about a 220 amp either, but he had a whole bunch of PQLs, all good stuff. And of course, you don't need much of that, most of that, except for the 222 amp. But you might, if you get a hold of him, you might get pricing and what he's trying to get for any of that stuff and what he's got available still.
Okay, I'll look into it there. Thanks, Mike.
You betcha. With that, anything further from you, Aaron?
Yeah, what was the call sign?
Alpha Delta 6 Alpha, if you can look it up quickly. I think that's Dave, and he used to be in the Bay Area, and now he's moved to Oregon. He broke his back. He fell and broke his back, and he's paraplegic or quad. I'm not sure which, but he can't do anything radio-wise anymore.
Yeah, David Fiffield. Looks like he lives in a suburb of Portland. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's it.
Milwaukee, Oregon.
Yep, Milwaukee, Oregon. I didn't know there was a Milwaukee, Oregon, but apparently there is.
Well, you learn something every day. See, this net isn't totally useless.
I've learned lots of things from you, Mike.
Dirty words and so on, huh?
Oh, probably picked up a few.
and questionable stories and jokes.
I never said the net was useless either, over.
I think even my wife has picked up a couple things, because usually I got you guys on the speaker, and she hears bits and pieces and gets a good chuckle every once in a while.
As long as it's not your 3-year-old saying, F you, Dad.
Correct, yeah, we don't want that.
Oh.
Yeah, my wife hears bits and pieces and gives me a chuckle every once in a while also, KM6SR.
You got to get her to check in.
Yeah, she's got a number, call sign, but no Bozo number.
Oh, we can fix that.
Yeah, I think I asked her, and she says, no, I'm never going to check in. I don't need one.
I mean, because that's a twofer up there, Mike, and that helps the Course Gold versus Bay Area numbers.
Oh, you betcha. Even if she checks in when Rob opens his mouth and somehow his voice comes out, but it's her talking.
Oh, you guys too much.
We'll put a remote microphone downstairs.
Yeah. We used to have, when Ken Holiday was alive, his wife's name was Jackie and Ken, and we had a 432 440 repeater link that went between his house and a bunch of the guys were on 6 meters. And they had a minor bird, and I'll be damned if the minor bird could have checked in because he was pretty good. The repeater would start to get active first thing in the morning, and somebody would break the squelch, and the bird would get on and say, "Hi, guys."
Yeah, instead of the repeater talking back to you, the bird can talk back to you.
Yeah, no, this bird was good. He had 4 or 5 words that they would say. He would say, I've forgotten some of the ones, but hi guys, that was what Jackie always would say. And she was just mimicking Jackie. That's Ken's wife in the background. Jackie didn't have a call, but the repeater was in the kitchen, so not the repeater, but the radio. So Ken could always get on, and the bird heard that, and he would be joining right in with that conversation, boy.
That's pretty funny. I'm looking at your battery right now. Yeah, it looks like you actually got a decent amount of sun today. You're at 72%.
Yeah, I think I'll let it coast through the night here.
Yeah, you might actually make it.
Yeah, no, I think if I'm over 50, about 60%, I know I can coast through.
And the days are starting to get longer too, which is helpful.
Well, today I started out with very bright sun, and it got hazier as the day went on, but I still had some pretty good sun coming in, and I was seeing 3,800 watts of sunlight going into the batteries. At one point, that was just one glance I took at it. On a real bright day, we get 6,000 watts, but we probably had 4,600 watts coming out of the panels, and 600 or 800 of that was running the house, and the rest of it was charging.
Well, very good. Oh, and Rob, with the Bozo Net email account, as long as Google remembers your computer, you should be able to log right back into that without me having to intervene. He must have stepped away from the microphone. K6USY.
Hope he didn't fall from the first top floor to the bottom floor.
I'm back. No, my cat fell today, but I had to load paper in the printer to print out 86A's QSR page.
Does he have anything listed on his QRZ page as far as equipment?
Let me bring it back up.
That's all right.
Right now, I went right past the bio, so let me look at it and see.
No, it's mostly just, info about, bands and stuff, so I don't see anything on here about equipment.
When he operated in the Bay Area, I didn't realize it. I think I sort of knew it, but I didn't always know. But he he rented a container in a storage yard, like a Darrell storage yard. He rented a container in order to get on the net. He would go over and go into the container, and he checked into every net from the container in the storage yard. He had antennas all over the roof of the container. That he was living in a no antenna zone or something in an apartment house, and couldn't get on at all from there. But he got on okay from the storage area. It's all in the motivation, isn't it?
Yep, that's real interesting. Was it a Darrell's? Was he here in town or some other town?
I could be operating radios in the closet.
No, he's. You guys doubled a little bit. Your question, he was in, I think, Sunnyvale is where he was. He was somewhere in the storage yard in Sunnyvale. What did you say, Aaron?
Oh, I was just saying, Mike. I could be operating my radios in the closet.
Well, I think you are, aren't you?
Bug out, guys. Catch you later. WA60IB. Good night, all.
Yeah, good night, Ken. I didn't know you were still here. Sorry, we didn't mean to leave you out.
Well, I didn't really need to get in.
Good night, Ken.
Come on in, the water's fine.
Good night, Ken. WA6OIB, KM6SR, 73.
Yeah, Mike, so the radios are in the closet, but at least I'm not in there operating them, but I could be.
Well, I know some wives would like to put their husband in the closet.
Exactly, yeah. So at least my wife lets me sit out here in the bedroom at the computer.
I love it.
Yeah, you can't go in there, Aaron, because then you'd have to come out of the closet, over.
That is correct.
Going in is okay. When you come out, it's where it gets questionable.
Yeah, I'm going to look up his FCC history here, and I should be able to pull a previous address. Yeah, here we go. He was in San Jose.
Yeah, I knew it was in that area, Sunnyvale, San Jose area. I never saw his place, but I just got the general idea from his description that he was. I got the feeling maybe he was in a couple of miles from El Camino Real, somewhere in that area, in the Sunnyvale, San Jose area.
Yeah, just north of the 85 in South San Jose, almost up against the Santa Cruz Mountains.
Yeah, okay.
Where are you finding that, Aaron?
So the FCC never forgets anything. So I went and pulled up his call sign on the FCC database, and then went back to one of his older administrative updates to his call sign, and was able to pull an old address.
Okay, you're pretty clever.
Oh, and then it looks like he did have an address in Sunnyvale, so he must have lived in two different places in the Bay Area because he moved.
Well, you find an address in Sunnyvale in there as well?
Yeah, and this looks like a much smaller property in one of these little, oh man, they almost look like mobile homes.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I got the impression, that he was in a very restricted area, physically restricted or covenanted or something, but he couldn't operate, and so he cleverly rented or bought a container and put everything in there. And then I guess in some of the storage areas, you've got lights in each one of your little housings, don't you, Rob?
Yeah, the newer facilities have a light inside. We don't like the customers to tap into it and use it, but and then we'd probably have an issue with them putting antennas on our we have some storage containers in some places too, and I don't think they would like people doing that. They're not supposed to be hanging out there. Just come in and do their business and leave, over.
Well, that's what he did. He come in, checked into the net, and went home.
Okay.
Different rules for different places, too. I'm sure he must have had it worked out. He didn't seem to have a problem doing that. He obviously wouldn't have put all the effort into loading the container up with stuff and getting antennas up if it wasn't going to be accepted. Anyway, listen, guys, I think I'm going to get out of here and call it a night. I'll get on here in the morning and see if I can work my friends after 3 or 4 days of one or the other of us with doctor's appointments and psychiatric treatments and whatever else that goes on. The guy up in Washington is a psychiatrist, and he has patients on Tuesday only. He's sort of retired, but he does save Tuesday for some special old customers with special old problems with their kids or something. He does mostly work with parents and children where the kids are thinking they know everything. We know about that. 7-3, guys. Good to hear everybody. Thanks for the chat this evening. And K6USY, KR6MR, KR6, KM6SRR. I'll get it right yet, Rob. K6MYC.
That's okay, Mike. I'm really new here, so you may not have my call yet.
Well, you know what? There's a lot of these KRs and KMs and damn prefixes that really got my head screwed up. In the old days, it was easy. It was either W6 or K6.
I need to get Rob to get a vanity.
Yeah. K6ROB.
Yeah, I thought about that, but I think it might have been taken, and I'm committed now. I got QSL cards and all the other contacts I've made with my call sign, so I guess I can't change like Ken.
I don't know what the FCC rules are on I think the call sign change isn't the thing. You can't move too far, or your DXCC type things don't work. I don't know what the rules are. They keep changing them. They used to be very restrictive, and if a guy moved down the street 5 miles in the old days, he would have to start all over again with his DXCC, but they figured that was stupid. If you worked DXCC, it don't matter where you work it from. You worked 100 countries, and you got 100 confirmations, and I think that's the way they treat it now. So pretty much, other than going to the location that you need for that last country and working the guy next door, it's probably allowed.
Yeah, the only worked all states has a 50-mile radius limit. So if you completely move out of the area, you got to start worked all states over again.
Oh boy.
But you're right. DXCC is you can move across the country and work a bunch of new entities, and all the ones you worked on the West Coast would still count.
I don't want to work all the states anyway. I just want to work the red states.
Yeah, well, you gotta figure out how to pay someone enough money to go to North Korea.
Well, I didn't mean that. States, red political. Biden calls the blue states green now. Did you hear that?
No, I hadn't heard that one.
He said, "Oh, you guys in the red and the green states." He was just one of his other boo-boos.
Yeah, well, yeah. Anytime I talk to people outside of California, I always ask them how is it in America?
Yeah, right. I heard an interesting piece of news today. They were talking about Trump's lead over Biden in all the different states, and the only state that he's clearly behind on, and this is just it goes without saying, but it's Michigan. He's 2 points behind Biden in Michigan, and it's mostly because of the very, very high black population there. Biden won that state last election. He got 98% of the black vote. Now he's down to 68, so he's bleeding badly.
Well, yeah, he's definitely bleeding badly. He's on life support.
Yeah. But you can't change some of these people's minds no matter what you do. So anyway, I feel sorry for the people that are it's ignorance. They're listening to the wrong sources, and they're not checking their sources and confirming and cross-checking. And boy, if you don't do that, if you're lazy about your political beliefs and direction, then you're liable to be misled. You'll follow the rest of the sheep right over the cliff. Over.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think one of the biggest problems is a lot of people in the middle don't want to vote for either person.
Yeah, I heard a stupid one the other day. A guy said, I wouldn't vote for anybody that has 98 criminal indictments against him. Well, that's just a number that is built up just to do exactly what it did to that guy. It sounds so imposing that he didn't go any further with finding out what they were, and that the fact that 92 of them, if not all 93, were bogus.
Yeah, well, still haven't convicted them of anything.
Well, that's the interesting thing. All the convictions and the people doing them are falling apart. Look at the Biden confidential paper thing is going to have a positive effect on the Mar-a-Lago thing for Trump. And then, of course, this idiot woman and her boyfriend down in Atlanta are pretty much blowing that one out.
Yep, it's definitely going to be an interesting year. But speaking of when you guys are on 40, I now have a wire up for 40, and I can actually hear you guys.
Oh, good. We're on every morning. I don't know if in your home, but when you're on her, we're on normally on 7147, and you'll find some interesting conversations and sometimes quite intellectual. When the K7VO gets on there, he's the a physician, if you will, doctor, psychiatrist now, but he was a doctor in the Army for 15 years, so he's very, very knowledgeable about medical things, including all the COVID. You could ask him about ivermectin and long COVID and Paxlovid and all the rest of that. He'll fill you in on what his findings are. And it doesn't agree with a lot of the doctors that he knows, but you can research all this stuff. It's just tons and tons of stuff about ivermectin and all that different stuff that was related to COVID, study after study after study after study. And they just can't find anything wrong with ivermectin, except you can't make any money on it.
Oh yeah. It's usually I'm working from home or working in the office, but at least now I can flip on the HF rig and usually try to find a conversation. And by golly, a couple mornings I've found you, and I'm like, hey, I recognize that voice.
Yeah, there you go. Well, sometimes we get into some very interesting stuff. Sometimes it doesn't get to that, or sometimes we have, like one morning, I think the beginning of this week was a good day. We were all on there, but I got 3 phone calls, and another guy got a phone call. Then his dog had to have something, and one thing that you can't hold a real serious conversation that requires attention and requires response from the other parties that are well thought out if you're being continually interrupted. So occasionally that happens, but more than likely when we get into a good discussion, we really work through it pretty heavily, and Bob is always very good at putting the final touches on it with his psychology analysis, and he's a professional speaker as well. And he's been doing it for a long time, so he's very good at the way he outlines things. And in fact, he's actually been interviewed several times by one of our other friends, ZS1 SBW. His wife has a channel or a blog, and she's interviewed Bob several times on various subjects, and then replays it. So he's been on, but he's very, very good in terms of verbalizing what sometimes we can't say because we're not. He's extremely educated and well versed in how to say things.
Oh, very good. Yeah, it's one of the it's been many years since I've had something up for 40, and I've always missed just all the various different groups and conversations and people across California that you can hear during the daytime. So it's good to be back on that band. But alrighty, it's getting late and there's nobody watching us on YouTube anymore. So I think we should probably get going.
Yeah, okay. One other ear to the ground. When Anthony checks in, Anthony is K7AER, not EAR, but AER, so it's like K7 ear, but it isn't. Anthony is an interesting guy, and I'm still a little bit, I'm holding about 1% out of total belief in what he's told me. Only because I just, some of the stuff is so wild, you almost can't believe it. But he's been in several situations working at places that he can't describe and can't tell you where he was. If I tell you what I'm doing, I got to kill you, that type of thing. And he's confirmed it several ways. He's, in fact, even on his website, there's a patch for a place that he was at that is a very, very no, it's not secretive, but there's a lot of stuff going on there that's ahead of the time that we know about, ahead of the things that are going on technically. You might look at his website and see K7AER and look at that patch. But Anthony's an interesting guy, and he now is teaching some of the kids at the Apache tribe there. He lives on the Apache property or in the reservation or right next to it anyway. But he's become a teacher for all the kids, and he's trying to get them to come up to speed, and he's put a ham radio station in their school and the cafeteria and all that sort of stuff. Interesting guy, but he's really been some places. He spent a lot of time in Russia when all this stuff was going on, so he's got an inside view of how it is to be in Russia when there's strife going on and Putin and all the rest of it. So he has an interesting perspective as well. Anyway, you'll find some interesting characters on there. 73 Aaron 73 to you, Rob. Back to you. KM6SRR with K6USY, all signing K6MYC off and clear.
Okay, Mike. We'll say 73 K6MYC KM6SR. Hey, Aaron. Did you hear? Like I thought I heard Ken said he's going to do an extra class over.
Yeah, that's what he said at the meeting. I don't know if I'd be able to swing it during the school year, though. I really wish he'd do it over the summer.
Turn off the streaming, will you, so I can see my solar stuff?
Oh, yeah.